Hello, hello. How are you all, Bright Berries? I am Tashia, and I am your host for the show Tips and Talents with Tashia. How are you all? Today we have an artist with us. His name is Wiley. Wiley is a 37-year-old autistic artist and who considers painting to be his passion. Wiley has had his paintings exhibited in various art galleries, and he has come a far way, a long way in his journey of painting. Let's get to know him a little more, his story and his journey. So, without further ado, let's welcome Wiley. So, what were you saying? Please continue.
So I started painting in 2009, and in 2010,
Hold it, Wiley.
I was only doing little pop-up markets and not doing much of making art, but I eventually got to the point where I started painting on canvases, and I started actually getting somewhere.
Well, I think some of his earlier painting, he had been in the hospital, okay, and they had an art therapist, and he enjoyed it, and he did a little bit of, painting at home, but I just thought of it as a hobby, all right? And then North Carolina Memorial Hospital had a program called Brushes with Life, and they basically invited people who had been in the psych unit to enter their art into an exhibition. And that was, I don't know what year that was. I mean, maybe it was 2012, 13, something like that, or 10, I'm not sure. But that was the first time he had ever been in an exhibit, and he just loved it. I could not get over how much he loved it.
And getting back to things, we started not doing so much pop-up art. We started doing more like galleries.
Well, it's really what I saw is it's with the pandemic or pre-pandemic. I was trying to get him in galleries.
We started doing galleries outside Wake County because we couldn't find anything in Raleigh during the pandemic.
Well, maybe it was about 2019. He had his first solo exhibit, and he was invited by the Women's Club of Raleigh to have the solo. And, he sold a couple there, and we immediately took those paintings to a restaurant downtown near another gallery that had referred us. And then he ended up, so 2020, that was big COVID times, and there was unrest in Raleigh. So the art scene in Raleigh totally shut down. So we started looking for exhibits outside of Raleigh, and he ended up being in like 3 or 4, including one group exhibit later in Raleigh. So that was pretty good. And then in 2021, he was accepted for a solo exhibit in Durham, North Carolina. It's called the Durham Art Guild. And this was a big thing, to get another solo. Yeah. And I would say in 2021, we also got noticed by Crabtree Valley Mall, and the marketing people sent us an email because of Instagram, and they wanted to come to Wiley's studio, which is in his house, and look at his paintings. And they ended up buying 3 paintings for, small things like 11 by 14s for an autism giveaway, a promotion for the art
and
the mall.
Remember the other one?
Well, hang on. And then one of the marketing people bought one for her personal collection. And then also, I mean, he's been lots of things in Raleigh. But then we had a gallery owner who had seen Wiley's work in group shows, email us and want to come to his studio and feature him when she opened her art gallery. And
Oh,
so
wow.
yes, and it was in a very Charlotte Russell contemporary. Now, it was in a great section of Raleigh for art galleries. So she featured Wiley with one other artist, and that artist had a master's of fine art. So we felt like we were in great company for Wiley to be a self-taught artist and to get recognized.
Oh, and also we were recognized by the Art Council of Wilson as well.
Oh yeah, but then one of the better achievements, and I'm trying to fix it so you can see both of us.
Yeah.
Okay, but one of the things we were really happy, the first time we entered a national jury call was in 2021 in Floyd, Virginia. And Wiley got a national honorable mention. And this was just like, we were blown away. It wasn't any money, but it was great recognition.
For somebody appreciating your work, I think that's a lot. And where he went from just being a self-taught artist, that's huge.
Yes. And in 2022, it's like I can't remember everything. He's had so many great things.
I had a good one at what was that place, that building called in downtown?
Well, let me kind of tell it in order. Okay, so he was in 2 group exhibits in one of the art centers in town, and then he got featured at a gallery called Art Space in Raleigh, North Carolina, which is like the largest, I don't know what you would call it. They've got more artists in these studio galleries than any place in North Carolina, is my understanding. And they have an upfront gallery where they tend to feature artists with disabilities. And so Wiley got featured there with one other artist for 2 months. So that was pretty good. And then he got featured in the Raleigh Convention Center. There was an exhibit. It was about disabilities in the art. It was sponsored by the Kennedy Center. And so he three paintings, 3 or 4 paintings, 3 I think there, that were at the Convention Center for 4 months. And then he got featured downtown in the Raleigh Municipal Gallery called the Block Gallery. And he had 11 paintings there. So he was featured with one other artist there. And then one of the most greatest thing is the City of Raleigh Arts Commission just purchased one of Wiley's 48 by 30 paintings for the permanent collection of the City of Raleigh. So that was just made our day. I mean,
we have had so proud.
I am. And listen, last year when he was at the Durham Art Guild, the president at the time of the United Arts Council bought a painting from a large one. And then the lady who runs the gallery shop at the North Carolina Museum of Art, she bought a painting from us. I mean, we've sold some. You always want to sell more, kind of thing. But one of the greatest promotions that we've had is a company called Artability. I think they're out of Boston, and basically they promote the art of artists with disability, of homeless people, of veterans. A lot of these people are working sort of in I don't know, what would you say, programs, shall we say.
Oh, yeah.
And this artist, the person who started this company, she had been an art therapist, and she eventually, in a program of type situation, and she saw that it has business potential. So they have had companies like Chase Bank buy licenses for some of Wiley's.
Square.
Yeah. Fifth Third Bank, Regency Centers, and they have blown Wiley's art up as large as 12 feet high. And so it's really been some great experience. Well, that's Regency Center.
Regency Center, we have it on the corner of a building at an intersection where everybody can see it.
This must be a huge painting, right?
Well, that one's not quite as big as the one at Chase Bank in Durham, but it's everybody who goes by that intersection can see it because it's on the outside of the building, and they're really nice. They put up a little plaque, and so it's a permanent installation essentially.
And what I can see, I feel so happy to see from just being a self-taught artist to becoming somebody who has this painting outside a building. That's I think it's a very huge and a big achievement. Yeah.
Well, it really is. And now the sad thing about this is I'm sure that there are many artists with disabilities that do not get the recognition that they need. Okay. And part of this is that Wiley
can't do the application to art lifting.
Well, they can't do the applications to various art calls. They don't know how to use social media.
Yeah, some people are too busy to deal with it.
That's right. And actually, we're very lucky in terms of Wiley.
We have a copy editor working for us.
So Wiley is eligible for a Medicare program called the Innovation Waiver that covers people with disabilities. And Wiley lives alone. I mean, he cooks, he cleans, he's alone at night, but he doesn't drive. So he needs somebody to take him on errands and companionship.
Like I did today.
And work on skills. And, different art calls have different, requests, specifications, what they want.
Definitely.
And so the typical person with a disability and their family could never do this. But Wiley, this is very time consuming for me, but I do it because I realize.
It'd be nice if she could afford an assistant.
Well,
or Medicaid will allow somebody to be paid to be an assistant.
Yeah, but I do it because I know that this is what Wiley is destined to do. I mean, we have tried, various jobs.
Employment. We tried working at Dollar Tree and Five Below.
I mean, he at one point he worked at North Carolina State University
in the dining halls.
Yeah, with a job coach, and he was wiping off tables and taking out trash, and eventually he quit because he said, I want to do more with my life.
And they were giving me like 30, 45 minutes of downtime every shift, and that's not very good.
Yeah, that's not. I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, well, it was very hard. A normal person, typical employers, they want employees who know what to do when there's nothing to do without being told, kind of thing. And Wiley found that hard, particularly if he couldn't find the employer.
Particularly if somebody else was already doing what I thought of.
Right. But I cannot tell you.
Because I mean, sometimes you have to go, oh, I'm gonna go clean the bathroom, or oh, I'm gonna go clean something just because I'm here.
But I just cannot tell you what a difference that this art and exhibiting has made in his life. I mean, he has had, like the presidents of various art things talk to him, and he had somebody from at one of his exhibits from the University of Chicago Fine Arts Program talk
recently to him. The director of events at Visual Art Exchange talked to me while I was having an exhibit.
Yeah, so I'm always got my list out of what is the next opportunity, and you've always got to be planning ahead, kind of thing.
And it must have been such a, it must have boosted his confidence a lot.
Oh, definitely.
We gotta have this forever, because if I can't do this, I don't know what I'll do.
I had some, questions regarding his paintings, and I wanted to, the first question would be, what motivates him? Is there a specific thing that motivates him, or he just, you just draw when you're in the mood? How do you start?
I just do what comes to mind, because nothing comes to mind until I see a canvas. When I see the canvas, then I start thinking about, now let's do that, let's do that.
Okay, okay. And can you does your mood change the kind of paintings that you make?
Nah, it's really just a matter of figuring out like what can I sell and what's gonna make a good picture for somebody to buy, and it's that kind of stuff.
Okay, okay. And were you like you painted since childhood, or is it a recent hobby?
It's '09 I started painting.
Okay, and you were not painting before that.
Exactly.
Okay, okay.
I mean, I knew how to use a paintbrush. I knew what colors paint were. I knew the
But
color wheel, and that's about all I knew.
but you didn't know that it can turn into something big, right? Something
Exactly.
that's your passion.
Exactly.
Wiley, can you just list a few of your likes and dislikes? What do you like to do mostly, apart from painting, that is?
So I like to go places. Like recently, I went to Oxford, NC.
Oh, okay. So how was the experience?
Very good.
So
It
do you?
was a very hometown, like small hometown feel, because everybody was nice.
Oh, that's great.
And there
So
wasn't too many people out and about, so the stores weren't too crowded.
uh, that's nice. So, and when you go around and see things, does it inspire you to paint, or like does
It
it?
does. Yes, it does. I
It's,
went to a pottery gallery in Creedmoor. I can't remember what it was called, but it was nice.
okay, okay.
The
So
stuff there was real expensive.
I'm sure it must be. It must be.
I saw there was one clay vase for $108.
Oh, that's a lot. That's actually a lot. So, I was going to ask you, what is your greatest inspiration behind each painting? Like, or I'll ask you,
Well,
have
it's
a
just the
favorite.
urge to want to paint a painting. You want to be unique. You don't want to fit in with everything else.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I don't want to be like my paintings sell the most when I die.
Okay, okay. That's
Yeah, because culture's changed. Used to be art wasn't respected, and now art's respected.
yeah. Okay, okay, that's good. Okay, in terms of like your when you move around in society, what do you find any difficulty in people's behavior towards you? How the society like do you want them to be any different, or do you wish them to be um or, do you wish them to change
I
in any?
just wish people would understand autism and not like, oh, you're a freak, you have autism.
So, do you get such question like things thrown at you in a conversation? Like, do people say
And people like want to overlook certain people, want to put down certain people.
that?
But I would say, as far as his art goes and
Yeah,
being included, I
yeah.
mean, there has been no discrimination that I could tell.
No,
If
that's good.
anything,
That's very good.
he might get more awareness because he has autism.
Yeah, but at NC State, a lot of people have this overlooking thing on me. A lot of people just overlook me.
Well, I think he's talking about when he was working at the food court.
Oh, okay. That was not a good experience. Yeah. Okay, so sorry to hear that. One more thing I want to ask you. I've asked everybody that I'm interviewing. What do you think about this platform? Have you had a chance to go through our website or see? What do you think about us?
I don't know.
Well, I have spent a lot of time looking at it, and I mean, it seems like it really is support for parents of children with disability in a lot of ways.
Yes, yes. Our goal, like I said earlier, it's basically to like we do not have a lot of resources, right? When it comes to people with neurodiversities and neurodiverse and differently abled. we don't have a lot of resources and a lot of acceptance towards them. So our main goal is to, bring together everybody on the same page to make them be more accepting. Do you have any advice for us, or any tips for us from your experience in raising Wiley, how we can improve our platform more?
Well, I think that if any parent has a child and they feel that they have an artistic ability,
Yeah.
and they have the innovations waiver that Wiley has,
Yeah.
thinking about, rather than a quote caregiver, hiring a person who could help them with social media, with photography skills, with maybe applications.
Yeah, I get your point.
I like when we had this service for a number of years, and I never considered that there were people out there that I could hire to further his art career, and I wouldn't have to pay them money, and he would actually be happier because he didn't have a babysitter.
I've had moments when I was involved in it, and sometimes it's just them updating stuff and putting pictures places and Word documents and stuff that I'm not really involved in.
And at the same time, they can do things while they're with him that are technical, but it still provides companionship for him. Like, he doesn't want someone who has no interest in art to work with him.
Yeah, I want doing the bashing.
I mean, so
because they'll do bashing if they have no interest.
Well, I know that we always need someone who can help us with social media, because I just don't have time. And who can help me do errands that mom has no time to do, and take me to appointments that mom doesn't have time to take me to.
Okay.
Well, so I really think that the parents who have that innovations waiver and a child with artistic ability ought to think about, is there a way they can hire an artist?
Some parents are stubborn mules.
Well, part of the way I can do this, most parents get services through agencies, and I realized back in 2015 that agencies were not going to meet my son's needs. So under the Medicare Innovations Waiver, I became an employer of record. So that means that I can hire who I want to and fire who I want to, that I can tailor what Wiley needs in staff. Well, thank you so much. Again, we really appreciate your reaching out and the support of the organization. And I hope that what I've had to say might help and inspire and give hope to some other parents.
I'm sure it will. You all are such a huge inspiration to many. You have no idea. Every day you're an inspiration to a million others, and I hope we get to bring them out. We get to show the world what truly they are made of.
That would be wonderful. Merry Christmas. Take care.
Take care.
Goodbye.
Thank you so much for your time.